Good afternoon and welcome to the July 21st, 2021 regular meeting of the Gates County Board of Commissioners. I am Dr. Anthony Riddick, the 2021 Chair of the Board, and I'm joined by Vice Chair Jack Owens, Commissioner Linda Hoffler, Commissioner Ray Freeman, County Manager Tim Wilson, and County Attorney Mr. Philip Godwin. At this time, I'm going to ask our Vice Chair Jack Owens to open us up with prayer.
Let us pray. Lord, let us begin our prayer by giving you thanks. It's been a good day. Lord, we thank you for the meeting that we just had. Lord, we thank you for the voices of our citizens and of our boards, Lord, that we would speak up and be concerned about our county. So I thank you for urging everyone to say what was on their heart and what was on their mind. Thank you again, Lord, for those citizens that are here now, Lord, to be with us, to associate with us as we conduct your business for your county, for your people. And Lord, we love Gates County, we love you, Lord, and we thank you for watching over us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now we had the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on our agenda this afternoon gives me pleasure to ask the county manager to introduce the hiring of the clerk to the Board of Commissioners. That will be followed by I will ask for a motion and a second, and then the administering of oath of office.
First, thank you, Madam Chair. As I advised the board, I had made a selection for the hiring of my executive assistant, and that was Jolita Chestnut. She started her duties last week and comes to us as a certified municipal clerk with North Carolina experience. She has 15 years experience in local government, is a Gates County native. She has come back to us, a 1989 graduate of Gates County High School. She has very strong leadership skills in office management and in other areas as well. Her position is a dual role position. She is both clerk to this board as well as my executive assistant. While I have authority to hire her as executive assistant, it is this board's responsibility to appoint her as your clerk. And this is also an office that requires a swearing in and an oath. And with that, I will turn it back over to you, Madam Chair, for a vote on the appointment of Ms. Chestnut as your clerk, to be followed by swearing in by the chairman.
I entertain a motion to appoint Jolita Chestnut as clerk to the Board of Commissioners.
I make that motion that we hire Joe Chestnut as our clerk to the board.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chairman.
We have a motion and a second. All approve?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Ms. Chestnut, come forth, please. Right here. Raise your right hand. I, Jolita Chestnut,
I, Jolita Chestnut,
do affirm
do affirm
that I will well and truly execute
that I will well and truly execute
the duties of the office of clerk to the board
the duties of the office as clerk to the board
according to the best of my skill
according to the best of my skill
and ability according to law.
and ability according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you and welcome to Gates County.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Gates County.
I should have said welcome back to Gates County. She graduated from Gates County High School, as you heard, and Ms. Hoffler informed me that she taught, but who hasn't she taught?
You're older than I am, so no, I didn't teach you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is approval of agenda.
Madam Chair, I'll make the motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
I second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Moving to the consent agenda. Take a look at this consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, Madam Chairman.
Second?
It's been properly moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Now we have the introduction of new county employee Jason Sample, Emergency Management Director, by our county manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is something new that I plan on putting on your agenda on a regular basis. Whenever we have a new employee that is hired by the county, they will come to the next available board meeting to be introduced to this body as well as the public. And that starts off with the hiring of my own, and it's my pleasure to introduce to you this evening Mr. Jason Sample. He began his duties 2 weeks ago as the Emergency Management Director. He comes to us very qualified from Elizabeth City, North Carolina. He has 14 years of experience as a fire inspector and investigator, hazmat technician and a specialist, and also an EMT paramedic. He is a fire instructor and hazardous material instructor, as well as other certifications in his field. He comes to us with a wealth of experience, a wealth of enthusiasm, and he hit the ground running and has been doing an excellent job. And it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Sample to this board and the public.
Well, welcome, Mr. Sample. Let us hear your voice.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing?
At least
So-
go right ahead. At least you were smart enough not to sing.
Trust me, you don't want to hear this voice.
We welcome you to Gates County as the Emergency Management Director. And I'm quite sure Mr. Wilson has acclimated you to what we are and who we are, and we're looking for good things from you. And again, welcome. Don't be shy. Let him know what you need and how we can support you. We support all of our staff. And so we welcome you, and you're from Elizabeth City, I believe?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're right up the road.
About 28 miles I can be here.
28 miles.
Yeah, and I'm from door to door.
All right. Well, welcome to Gates County, and we look forward to hearing a report from you through the county manager in due time, as far as how you have hit the ground running, so he said.
And it was a pretty busy week the first week. So.
And I know when you hit the ground running, that means money. We know that. So we're waiting to hear from you as far as what you need and how you can help us move forward in the county. Welcome again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
All right. We have special guests. That's the next on our agenda. The first, we have two special guests, but the first is the Gateway Community Health Center. Ms. Rose Turner is the Chief Executive Officer of the center. She's here with some of her staff. I think the finance officer is here, and one of the doctors are here. I asked Ms. Turner to come in and give us a broad overview of the health center and what they do and all of that. And that means I have to do full disclosure. I am the vice chair of the board of directors for Gateway Health Center. So so Mr. Owens, if it becomes a discussion that's not going well, I will give you the gavel.
Okay.
So that I can speak freely.
All right, I understand.
Okay.
Duly noted.
All right. Ms. Rose.
Thank you, Dr. Riddick, and other members of the Commissioner Board for Gates County. At this time, I'd like to bring up two members of the management team, one representing clinical and the other with our finance, Mr. Carl Brown and Dr. Nichols.
Mr. Brown, come on up. He's the finance guy. And I want to say that they have a PowerPoint presentation. We will make copies of this and give them to the members of the Board of Commissioners so that you can leave you with something instead of seeing a PowerPoint. They do have this, and I have a copy, and I make sure that the clerk receives it and get the copies to the Board of Commissioners, so you can follow along. Okay, Mr. Brown.
little, but not my back.
Okay.
Speak in the
So-
microphone.
You gotta speak in the mic. You gotta
All
speak
right.
in the mic.
Can we give her the portable one?
I don't know about that. But anyway, again, thank you all for having us. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is the Community Health Center in general. Most of you probably know the health center as Gates Medical or the Rural Health Center. But we are actually Gateway Community Health Center as of June 2014. In June 2014, the health center actually became a federally qualified health center. With that, as a standalone, with 9 members of the board, one being Dr. Riddick, who is here, and that makes us 7 years old. We currently serve 7 counties: Gates County, Hereford, Camden, Shawan, Currituck, Pasquotank, and Perquimans. And what we wanted to talk about today is just the services of the health center. And
Speaking to the mic.
With that, what I like to do is really talk about how we can provide services to the total community through our telehealth and also with patients coming on site. Briefly, I'm going to ask Dr. Nickel, and it is Nichols, not with the S, and he has reminded us of that, of how the telehealth actually work. And after that, I'm going to ask Mr. Brown to talk about some of the most recent funding in, some of the simplest forms so that everyone can understand what we're doing now and some of the actual services that are available to the community. And on that note, Dr. Nichols, if you can just give us a brief kind of overflow or overview of how our telehealth works.
Absolutely. We good now? I have a green light. All right.
Okay.
Dr. Walter Nickel. Just a little bit about myself. Trained at Walter Reed, a former military physician. I spent the past 4 years at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, working down there with our fine Marines and sailors. Been with Gatesville, Gates, since 2018 on a part-time basis. Now for the past several months, and now full-time. Telehealth is taking off, especially with what has happened over the past year. It's a fantastic tool that is now being utilized and should have been utilized well before this. So we now have the ability to fill prescriptions, to follow up on labs, to put in referrals, to practice a full spectrum of healthcare remotely. Now I usually try and have a face-to-face follow-up, usually around 2 weeks after that telemedicine, telehealth encounter, which allows me to listen to the heart, listen to the lungs, check for clinical signs that I wouldn't be able to see via video or over the phone. Both video and audio are acceptable in a telehealth encounter. With that, the referral would go in, a lab order would go in, the patient would then go to an available Centera or an urgent care and be able to get those diagnostic studies done, and then I would be able to follow up. It's a great opportunity to really capture a larger base that may not have access for transportation, that may be far away and not be able to afford gas on getting to the facility. So it's not strictly just an infection protocol or mitigating protocol. It's something that we can use for a long period of time, and we're very excited about it, and it's been going great so far. There's always technical bumps that come up, but so far so good. That about covers it.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thanks, sir.
Any questions?
Hello.
You're fine.
You fine?
Okay. Hello. My name is Carl Brown. I'm the accountant for Gateway. I was asked to talk about some of the most recent funding we received. We received several grants from the Bureau of Primary Health Care to cover the COVID the COVID-19. And among those, the funds was to help us increase our capacity to provide services, to do diagnostics and treatment, and to maintain our staffing during that period, because, during that period, we lost quite a bit of funding from patients coming in. What they want to make certain that we was able to maintain staffing be able to provide services for those patients, even though we wasn't getting the income coming in. Part of the misconception about community health centers is that we are basically a free clinic. We're not. We get a portion we receive a operating grant from the federal government that cover a portion of the cost that we to cover a portion of our cost for operations, but it by no means cover the whole thing, whole operating cost. So we have to provide services. We have to bill and collect from third parties and patients. But one of the biggest things that we do is that we ensure that all patients receive services, irrespective of their ability to pay. We always found a way to work it out. Now, we might run them through a little house and tell them that, based on your contract or based upon what we say or what the feds say that we must do, you have a responsibility to pay a share based on your income. And a lot of cases, most of the cases, the patients come out to be basically 0% pay. And we might charge a nominal fee for those particular patients. But we don't let that nominal fee inhibit our ability to provide service. They don't have the nominal fee, we're gonna find a way to get that service to them, that needed services. And over over the last year, we received a COVID fund. I think we received about 3 grants in 2020 to cover the COVID activities. And most of us were testing, expanded services like I explained earlier. And just more recently, we received another grant for capacity building. And that was a grant for, it was under the American Rescue Plan for construction capital improvements. And I think our plan for our grant was to expand and provide dental services through a mobile unit so that we could go out into communities and provide services for people who can't get to a Pacific dental location. I think that's.
Yeah, and I'll speak a little bit more about the mobile unit. Our board of directors, 9 of our members, did approve for the actual mobile unit. And the unit will be quite a large unit. Diesel is the way we will actually fuel the unit. And we will go to various counties. We'll also go to local agency, and we'll also park here in Gates County. And when you walk into the mobile unit, it will look no different than going into a dental practice. And also with the dental unit, we will have other services available, including behavioral health. Right now, the health center also provides behavioral health, substance abuse counseling through telemedicine, and it is provided with a physician assistant. That service is available on Monday and Tuesday, and she's also available in the afternoon by appointment because she actually works out of California, and she comes on site quarterly to actually do face-to-face visits. So with this dental unit, hopefully we will have the support of the community, and as members of the community, you will actually use the facility. Once everything is in place, we will definitely have a grand opening, and we'll make sure that that's advertised in the newspaper, whatever, Facebook, pretty much anything you can think of when it comes to the social media. And with that, not making our presentation a long one, I definitely want to again put out a invitation. We are currently in need of board members. We have 3 board members representing the county here in Gates County. However, we do need to have other members to represent the other counties that we serve. And we'd like to definitely invite members, if you know folks in Pasquotank, Perquimans, Shawan, Currituck, Camden, all of the areas, including our special program, migrant and seasonal farm workers. individuals who may be farm workers. We'd like for them to be users of the center because we like to make sure that we're in compliance with the 51% user base, because that user base is very important to us. That's the group of folks who really help us to provide the type of services that's needed in the community, give us the pulse of what's going on in the community, and keep us on our toes relative to making sure that services are provided.
Thank you. And the commissioners have a question or comment about the Gateway?
Just,
Communities have
what are your
service?
operating hours?
Okay, operating hours on Monday
Microphone.
and Thursday, 8 to 7. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Wednesday, and Friday. On Friday is 8 to noon, Tuesday and Wednesday, 8 to 5. So again, Monday, 8 to 7, Tuesday and Wednesday, 8 to 5, Thursday, 8 to 7, and on Friday, 8 to noon. And we also have an after-hour call number, so if you call that number, it's an emergency, the answering service will answer and give you direction as to, what steps should be taken medically.
How about can you give us the number to call for those hours?
Yes. You can call the direct number, it's 252-357-1226.
1226.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And you prefer someone making an appointment, but you do allow walk-ins, I'm sure.
We prefer appointments, but we welcome walk-ins, and the walk-ins will be provided by telehealth or by a direct physician that's serving the health center.
I will put it out there, I am young, I turn away no one ever. If you walk in and it's 5 minutes after we close, I will take your blood pressure, work you up, and get it done. I'm excited to be here, I love preventative medicine, and rural preventative medicine is my focus, so this is exactly where I want to be, and super stoked to be here.
And from my perspective, from a financial perspective,
Thank you.
I love it.
Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you all for having us.
That is one area I struggle in. I spent my entire career essentially practicing socialized medicine in the military, where any test I want, any medication I want is covered. Patients don't worry about paying anything. So I do work very closely with the financial side of the house, because I'm not familiar with insurance and co-pays and what medicines are covered and not covered. So that's something that I'm learning as well.
And I heard you mention prescriptions that they're provided there. How's the delivery?
Ms. Turner, will you please
yes.
talk about the pharmacy program?
Yes, with the pharmacy, we have 2 pharmacists. One that actually works on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then the other one that's here in Gates County, and she's not busy, Monday through Friday, the same hours, and we actually provide nominal fee for pharmacy as well. So we're not trying to compete with Walmart in any way, but for those individuals who do not have the ability to pay, there is a discount structure for them. And we also have a program, the program is called a medical assistant program, and we have an individual who will actually work with members of the community to provide and to help them to receive discount drugs through some of the various programs where it really costs pennies to get the drugs.
Very well, thank you. And then, is there an MD on site?
We do have an
all
MD on site
5
on
days,
Wednesday,
or-
Thursday, and Friday, and on Monday and Tuesday, Dr. Nichols provides the telehealth
A PA, okay. Or PA in the other times?
for the Gates location.
Roger that. And then last, I heard mention behavioral. Do you have a provider that's available, or?
She is available. Right now, she's available by telehealth, but we are recruiting for someone to be on site. So basically, what would happen if you need to have services, and for right now, I'll just use the adolescent population. Let's say we have someone who's a child who may need some counseling. We would set up the appointment with the parent, and the parent would be in the room with the nurse and the child, and they would actually have a face-to-face visit with the behavioral health specialist. Did I get that right?
Yeah. And now will they also have the capability of obtaining an IVC or applying for an IVC or something of that nature?
In reference to,
To behavioral, and the involuntary commitment is an IVC.
yes, yes, yes.
So they do that?
We can do that, that's correct.
Very well.
Thank you for the presentation. I wanted to get Ms. Rose here. I call her Ms. Rose because I'm vice chair of the board of directors. And I have worked with her and the other board members and her staff to get a revised website that's up and running, because I'm concerned that we're not getting the word out about the services we have for those who cannot afford or do not have health insurance. And it's available right here in this county and the other counties that she mentioned. And we want to make sure that everyone who needs health care have access to health care and can afford the health care. So you're going to be seeing things in the paper. I'm also the marketing chair. Yeah, I got skills.
All right, I'm going to shut you down, Madam Chair. You're going too far.
And I'm very concerned about the marketing aspect of people understanding what we do at the facilities, and that we are making access to health care affordable. It's not a free clinic. That was a misconception years ago, and it caused some schisms because people thought it was free. But the nominal fee could be $5. It could be $10. It depends on your income. So we are here to stay. We've struggled, but she has pulled it through with her team, and we're trying to get doctors to stay. It's hard to get doctors to stay in rural areas. It just is. They're looking for compensation all the time, and sometimes it's just not there, or they use us as a stepping stone to get their feet wet and leave. But we're doing better. I just wanted them to come to do an introduction of what the services are. You may know someone that need health care and can't afford it, and I want to get that word out, and that's one of the things the commissioners do. Make sure the citizens know what's available in their county. So this is another entity that we have, and I thank you for coming. Thank you, Carl, and thank you, Nickel.
Good presentation.
Thank you.
And Madam Chairman, may I inject one other thing? Sometimes I have CRS, which means you can't remember stuff, if you didn't know for sure. But on that behavioral end, we have right many, and believe it or not, the size of our county, crises that are behavioral crises. Are they available to go to the home in that particular case, or does the patient come to you? Or
The patients actually come to us,
is it?
but a patient can be at home and actually receive the service.
Okay.
So that's really important.
That would be the telehealth.
Yeah.
That's
That's really
very well.
important.
And if it is too urgent to require illness, then it should be an ambulance and involuntary.
Very well. Good.
So in that kind of situation, sounds like the telehealth would be like a triage, making a decision which way it goes.
And there would always be a physician. I'm in Elizabeth City full-time, and I'm always available. But our MD here is not here full-time.
Okay.
Very well, thank you. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Next for our special guests are our economic development plan, or our strategic plan, and that's going to be presented by North Carolina Growth, Jessica Wilkinson, and Josh Alfonso, and Carol Freiberger. I don't know who's presenting what, but this is the team that we agreed about several months ago to draft us a strategic plan for the county. They're here for 2 days. They came in today. They will be here tomorrow. They will be traveling over the county, and I'm going to allow them to take it away and present in whatever order and whatever you think you need to share with us. But I wanted you to see this team that has been working diligently on our strategic plan draft. And so, Ms. Freiberger?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and good evening, Commissioners. Good evening, Manager Wilson, and also good evening, community members of Gates County and residents. It's really an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having us. I'm Carolyn Freiberger. I'm the Assistant Director of Economic Development for CREATE, which is a center, an economic development center housed at UNC Chapel Hill's Business School. Our center's mission is to help create shared prosperity through research, policy, and technical assistance. And our NC Growth initiative that Dr. Riddick mentioned is really that technical assistance arm. So through NC Growth, we work directly with business owners and local governments across the state of North Carolina on projects that hopefully, if successful, result in new job creation. That's really our end goal. So we'll work directly with a business that's hoping to grow. We provide, tailored consulting and technical assistance to that business owner. It could be writing a business plan. It could be conducting financial analysis, studying a market for a new product, or helping with marketing, really across the scope of business operations. Our team can help that business address challenges and move toward growth. On the economic development side, we work with local governments and community groups devoted to economic development, providing really applied research that helps you move forward to identify and implement strategies to help with job creation and business development in the local area. With that, I will turn to my colleague Jess, who's going to introduce the work that we're doing here, and one of our wonderful analysts, Josh. So again, thank you for having us. It's been a delight to be in the county. I did see a bear on my drive here, so I feel like I checked that box. So looking forward to what else the next day holds. Thank you.
Thanks, Carolyn. All right, so I'm Jessica Wilkinson. It's really nice to meet you all. I'm the Economic Development Manager at NC Growth and Create, and so I manage our economic development projects. And we're going to speak more about the economic development project that we're doing here in Gates County in just a minute, and Josh is going to go into some detail about what we've been working on. We have been working on this project since the beginning of May, and we have been meeting with Dr. Riddick and Tim Wilson every week since then, and we're hoping to wrap up this first iteration of the project sometime in the fall or late summer, early fall. And as Josh is going to explain, this is really to get a baseline of information about the economic situation in Gates County that will inform a strategic plan in the future. And so I'll pass it off to Josh to introduce himself and to talk about the work that he's been doing. All right, thanks.
Awesome, thanks, Jess. One, I like to move around a lot, and two, sadly, I was not in the car to see the bear, so I still have not had that founding experience. But so my name is Josh Alfonso, and I'm the analyst for the team. And one important thing, I've been reaching out to community members since June to discuss about the plan and receive community input. So if you received a phone call from someone with a 305 number, it is not Pitbull, it is me, and it is not spam either, because most people think I'm spam, which is understandable because I'm from Florida originally. But on that note, the general goal of the project is to create a first step and actually update and analyze key economic and social data. And then the ultimate goal is to provide recommendations, short and long term, for strategies to achieve sustainable growth. But we're clearly in step one, which is I'm pulling together key economic data from using the Census Bureau, their community American Community Survey information, looking at specifically inflows and outflows in the county, as we know where Gates County is located, and the community members that are working, but also people that live and work or live in the county and work outside. So looking at that to see how that ties into jobs. One thing that is important, some of you guys may remember in 2011, there was the Growing Gates Workshop, which was a partnership with North Carolina State, and that was looking at development in the county. But so I've actually reached out to the professors that ran that workshop, and we are using that work to build upon it. And as well as there was also a green development plan presented by some master's students at Duke University. So I'm utilizing what has already been done to update it for the new world that we're living in the post-pandemic 2021 world. One important thing is that we're going to be contextualizing data, looking at the major economic players and also businesses. So one thing I'm looking for specifically is just the list of businesses in the county. I know that there are storefront businesses, but also businesses that people are having in their homes. So I can see, like, I call them like the Etsy businesses. People that are selling stuff locally, people are putting things on like the internet. So I can also tie that into broadband access. And again, this is multi-tiered steps, and I'm just doing step one. So if you guys are interested in chatting with me or have any information, please contact the new clerk. Tim will put them in contact with me. Just easier. One thing, as mentioned, we will also be going throughout the county. We've done some today, having some conversations with people in the community, but as well as going out and actually seeing things with our own eyes, because there's nothing like putting together the puzzle pieces of economic development unless you're on the ground and seeing everything. Let's see, always going back. I'm also looking at Bureau of Labor Statistics. I like data, so I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm working on, and really conceptualizing and providing goal settings. So the idea is anytime there's an opportunity, there's grant funding available, you many times need to have these plans in place so you can be qualified for that grant funding for those economic development projects through either, if it's county, state, federal, even nonprofit organizations. So we're happy to contribute, and if you guys have any questions, please let us know. Making sure I hit all my points, but again, we're hoping that everything is going to be community-led, because you guys know the county a lot better than I will ever know. And sadly, I still haven't seen the bear.
Okay, Josh, tell them where you're going tomorrow. And as a matter of fact, Commissioner Freeman is going to be driving them around. He's already asked for a tip, always, and I'm not tipping him. But he's going to be driving them around or showing them some of the places that we've been talking about as far as our natural resources that could be enhanced for tourism. And they want to see the Merchants Mill Pond. And you tell them where else you want to see.
Yeah, definitely. Merchant Mill State Park. I want to check out the water access points to the river. I've heard just from chatting with people about the beautiful natural resources around. I've heard of the old Rays Beach area, but I assume we can't see that. But just see the water points, as well as we were actually just in the Sunbury area, just really conceptualizing and putting my eyes on everything. One thing, Bennett's Creek, for example, as well. And I think one of the most important things, especially for Gates County, is just driving around to see the interconnectedness of the county and really see what I've been, put my eyes and actually be able to conceptualize what people in the county experience for services. So looking at the pharmacy, looking at the grocery store, and just really seeing those basic services and trying to plot things out better. Not just for myself, but also in the report and the areas outside of Gates County that serves the community. And then, pretty much I think, generally speaking, I've hit my point. That if I'm forgetting anything, Jess, Carolyn, please remind me. But if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take questions. And also, thank you to Commissioner Freeman for offering to drive us around and show us around, because there's nothing like having someone from the community show you around, especially because when I got lost earlier because someone told me up the road and I didn't know up the road meant 8 miles, I was like, oh, I can just walk. No. So, yeah, I'm good at making fun of myself. And I know that's on the record.
I appreciate, Madam Chairman, you thanking me first before riding.
I think that was a good point.
Yes, sir, I do. I do have a little bit of a question, and I'm sure you've already done this, but just to bring it out, I heard you mention, like checking in-home businesses and what have you. do you analyze as you go on the system and find out who does that in Gates County? Or have you done some research?
Yeah, so I have spoken to the county planner, just generally about businesses. I have not really had the opportunity to engage with anyone that owns one of these micro businesses. I have Studio 32, thank you. I keep thinking the Studio 6. I don't know. I think that's a Hollywood thing. Apologies. Also, I don't know which way to stand. But yes, I have like spoken already with like the county planner about like this different like zoning requirements, and also just these smaller businesses that are just, you know, things that people have come up with during the pandemic as well, being locked up at home.
And probably something hard to see, and
Yeah.
I just bring this out, is that as we kind of analyze, all of us, and in conjunction, is that, you know, kind of looking at what figures the state kicks back at us, that the median income somewhere around 43,000. And I guess that's still staying the same. I really haven't done research recently. However, that's driven so much by our bedroom community, working from Norfolk, where they're making $70 an hour, as opposed to somebody making $10 an hour. So I'm sure you're taking all that in consideration, but
Yeah. One thing I'm specifically looking at is disaggregated data, because disaggregated data really helps you tell the story of what is happening in a community. So breaking it up by education levels, breaks it up by race, it breaks it up a million different ways, by age group as well. Unfortunately, they don't have zip code related data available. That is just unfortunate, and hopefully that it will be available in the future. And I'm also crossing my fingers that by the time I finish writing this report, the new census numbers will be out for just the county to compare, because like I said, this report in 2011 captured the 2010 data. So doing this 10 years later really allows us to see what has changed and what really has stayed the same, and going from there.
thank you.
I remember the 2011
NCC.
group that came in. It's, I think we met maybe 3 or 4 nights, seems like, at the library here at the elementary school. And one of the things that I remember very well about it was we talked about signage. We talked about signage, and you know, we're very rural, but we talked about Sunbury and Gates, and we talked about the community, these 3 communities and the town of Gatesville, about adopting some signage that was tied the county together, something that was new and fresh. So that's something I'm really interested in seeing us maybe capture something like that. And on your tour, I'll just mention that we have 2 bakeries that have opened up. They're like at-home bakeries, one in Gates and one over on Black Mingle Road. And they're in their infancy, like, you know, less than a year. And they're doing real well. But those would be 2 that you would want to speak to, I think, while you're here.
Yep, that would be absolutely fantastic. And yes, the signage part, I've seen that part of the report.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm not going to lie, like telling me to stop at a bakery, like that sounds really hard for me.
Yeah.
You know, who doesn't want to have a bakery stop? But yes, the signage aspects of it is still in that Growing Gates report, and I do have a copy of that report. It will be referenced multiple times throughout it. But yeah, that's the design aspect of it. That would be a lot longer in the future on any type of planning, but those designs are still available. And I know when I engaged with Dr. Passauer, I believe was her name, she was still remembered the workshop and everything and the work that they did, and has everything still on file. So.
Okay, good.
I want to encourage anyone that's listening, either in person or virtually, to please contact the board clerk to the board, and give her your name and number and your business if you want to talk with Josh, because that's important that we capture as many ideas and as many businesses and other things while we're in this planning stage, this development stage. So if you would like to have a conversation He may not be able to see all of it tomorrow, but you can always call, and I'm quite sure they'll be back in the county again. In the future, a couple of months, he'll come back, and maybe he can tour your business. But we need to know what we have in Gates County, you know.
And Josh, right out that window there is a business that was once thriving maybe 12, 15 years ago, and it's been vacant for about that length of time. Could accommodate a lot of things, just to give you an idea of what we have.
Empty storefront that could be used.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are very excited to be here and actually get to see everything. So thank you everyone for your time. And again, if it is someone calls you from a 305 number, I'm not spam.
Okay.
Thank you to North Carolina Growth for coming by and the work you're doing. We look forward to continue working with us. And when they said that the county manager and I meet with them once a week, no, we don't go to Miami. It's on Zoom. They're in Chapel Hill, and we just Zoom. I love technology. So we have been meeting with them every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. We're on Zoom meeting with them. They're giving us updates. So we're keeping in touch with them and sharing information as we get it. So we are in touch with them. They're not going rogue on us. So we reeled them in at 3:15 and talked with them for almost 45 minutes to make sure they were who they say they were. So thank you again, North Carolina Growth. Thank you again, Ms. Turner, for enlightening us about the Gateway Health Center. Do we have any citizen comments? Did anyone sign up, Madam Clerk? No citizen comment. Administrative reports, County Manager. I have the tax report, Mr. Chris Hill.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You should have in your packets a copy of the June 2021 tax collector's report and also the year-end 2021 tax report. The June tax report is really not much to brag about. We collected $55,298 in the month of June. And to be honest with you, about 90% of that was generated from the foreclosure letters we sent out. So that was good. That was money that we did not get last year because we did not.
What number was that?
The
Dollar number?
The $55,298.
298.
Said about 90% of that was generated from foreclosure letters.
And was that, do you know how many cases that was? Was that?
I don't have a case number. I do have a case number for what we're going to send tomorrow to the attorney.
Yeah, it's a good number.
Yeah, they came in and wanted to make sure that those properties didn't get foreclosed on, so that was good. We had some partial payments, we had some paid in full, so about half and half. But
And those made plans to pay the rest of it?
some did, yes, ma'am. Yes, some did. But there's not a whole lot going on for the month of June. I would like to get to the end of year report on the next page in 20. Did anybody have any questions about June before I get to the end of the year?
It looks like this runs through about every year, seems like June. I look back.
Yeah, I mean, except for the foreclosure notices and things of that nature, you're not gonna pay them by
Okay.
June, they're not gonna get paid.
Right.
Moving on to the end of the year report, we had almost a 97% collection rate, which was very good, especially with the COVID-19. We had a good year collection-wise. We collected $8,150,332 for the fiscal year 21. That was an increase of about $310,000 over 2020. Even though there was no new accounts foreclosed on, we still received around $71,000 from Zacchaeus Legal Services. That was a little bit less than last year, but again, we didn't have any new foreclosure cases for 2021, so it was about $15,000 less than last year. We are sending 57 accounts to Zacchaeus tomorrow for them to start working on foreclosure. Those were folks that you didn't come in and pay before today. So 57 new accounts going to the attorney tomorrow. About $200,000 of that $310,000 increase was real and personal property. The other $100,000 was DMV fees, which, as we know, we can't control that. That's how that goes.
Okay.
Bills have been processed and sent to the print vendor. They should go out next Friday. A little over 10,000 bills will be going to Gates County residents and taxpayers on the 30th of July. Those will be due September 1st.
Welcome to August.
Right, that's right. So
Postage rate on those, what is our postage rate on that, you call?
we don't get a discount on the postage rate. It is, what was it, 50?
So there's no discount on
No.
it? Okay.
Unfortunately,
There's a document here, A01DR1 on write-offs. Can you
yes, sir.
just say a little bit about that?
Yes, per general statutes, we're not allowed to carry more than 10 years of accounts payable forward. So every year, we have to write off the 10th year.
Okay.
So when you're looking at your tax bill write-off, it was a total of 393 bills from 2010 that we can't collect. So we wrote off almost $17,000. Your A01, DR1, DR3, all that, there's just different codes. Your DR1 is your drainage fees for drainage fee 1, drainage fee 3. FO1 is a fire fee, FO2 is a fire fee, GO1 is Gates taxes, and TO1 is town of Gatesville. So that all came to $16,999.
Right, so the GO1 is Gates County tax?
Gates County.
Okay.
That's why that's the highest out of the 6 or 7.
Okay.
Okay.
So I
Any
think
other-
we're off to a good start for the new fiscal year. We said about 10,000 bills went out, and it's going to be about, should be about $8.5 million. So that gives a little boost over 2021. I'm hoping we can keep that collection rate up and get closer to 100%. We'd like to see 100%.
Well, congratulations on your certification.
Thank you. And thank you all for the confidence for the appointment for the 4-year term. Appreciate it.
Very
And we
good.
want you to stay a long time.
Yes, ma'am. Please do.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions for me?
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Thank you. Have a good night.
And Mr. County Manager, do we have a departmental report? Or you, yes.
Not unless you have any questions on them. I'll be making some comments under Commissioner and
Okay.
County Manager comments.
I would like to make, since we're talking about departmental reports, I want to make a comment right here. Don't have to do it later on. But several months ago, probably last fall, we had a lot of comments about and questions and frustration with the customer service or the water department. And I asked Mr. Vice Chairman Owens to head up a comprehensive report review of the water department. He was helped by Commissioner Hoffman. They submitted that report a couple of months ago. It's on the website, and that report had a few recommendations in it. So, Mr. County Manager, I'm directing you to review that report again. I know you've looked at it. You were not on the ground when they first did the report, but I think you were here when they submitted it.
Yes, sir.
So, and I understand that the county manager has looked at that report and also did his own research as far as the water department and all the operations. So I'm directing the county manager that by our next meeting, which will be August 18th at 5:30, he is to submit actionable items based on the comprehensive report and his own research of the water department. This is going to be an actionable report, not another report. We reported out. We've had comments. We've had the hard copy. He's done his research. So when he comes back on August 18th, 5:30, the Board of Commissioners want to see his recommendation for improvements or enhancement to the water department. We're not going to put you in a box. We want to hear what you have to recommend based on the comprehensive report and your own research that you've done into resolving this. So that's going to be August 18th at 5:30, and prayerfully, at that meeting, we will be able to approve those recommendations. We want to see cost savings, cost analysis, organization. Nothing's off the table so that we can move forward with what we have been working on for almost a year. Also, to that same conversation, we also had a conversation about the noise ordinance. We had a couple of citizens to come and speak to us and citizens' comments, and we had some other comments that came in through the sheriff department about noise. And at that time, when I looked at the minutes, I did state that we wanted to look at our noise ordinance and see how we can enhance that, how we can enforce it if possible. I know a noise ordinance is very difficult, but at least do a review of that. So at that same meeting, August 18th, the commissioners are expect to just have a report about that noise ordinance. If it's fine, it's fine. If it's not, then what are the improvements? What can we do to ensure that if we have an ordinance, it should be enforced? That's what an ordinance does. So if it's something about that ordinance that we're not enforcing or we should be adding to it, then we want to see that too. Again, this is an actionable charge. We want to be able to move forward, put that water department report to bed, put the noise ordinance to bed, and move forward. And let me close by saying, as we move forward, there are going to be other policies and other operational efficiencies that the county manager will be bringing to the Board of Commissioners for review and his recommendations as we move forward.
Madam Chair, I'd like to speak to the comprehensive review, being myself and Ms. Hoffler were in charge of that. One of the things that just jumped out at me is we heard that they want to be recognized, county manager, as two departments. There's the water department, and then there's customer service. And they're interconnected. We all understand that. What Commissioner Hoffler and I did through the interview process was we learned about the nuts and bolts. Rather than sit here and guess at what was going on, we learned about the mechanics and the nuts and bolts, what comes first and all that, and why you can't do what some of the citizens were saying, well, let's do this way, and there was some legitimate reasons why you can't. But we did uncover some legitimate things to consider that would make us more efficient and that would might better serve the public in their billing processes with customer service. So Ms. Hoffman and I, hopefully we will be able to make ourselves available. If the report doesn't, if you're unsure that the report might not reflect some of those nuts and bolts or some of the things that we might, maybe what we heard, we want to make ourselves available to you to assist you in that if needed.
No, I appreciate that, and I will take you up on that offer.
Okay. You're welcome.
And thank you, Jack, for volunteering us.
Okay. We don't have any public hearings. I don't see any old business. I don't see any new business. So we're down to Commissioner and County Manager comments. I will start with the comments with, of course, Commissioner Freeman.
Thank you, ma'am. I was not asleep. First off, certainly want to thank everyone for their participation and for being here tonight and for tuning in if they are taking this in at home or elsewhere. I do want to bring up that Gates County is sort of getting on the map a little bit. This week we did have a visit, or last week we had a visit from the governor, and we had an opportunity to interact with him, chairman and myself, and we made some comments at that. We also had a U.S. Senator visit Gates County and spent some time at the Mill Pond campaigning there. So appreciate the folks that came out. I think there were, majority were school teachers who had input to let the upcoming potential U.S. Senator know. Do want to bring to your attention that during the governor's visit, his primarily concern was the vaccinations in Gates County and certainly in North Carolina. So he was wondering what Gates County was doing. Our Ms. Riddick out at the center, Karen Riddick, was very responsible for making Gates County jump out, and we did very well. Excellent in the beginning. Sort of fell off, and I think we have vaccinated for the second term 3,000 and almost 700 people or somewhere around there. We do have a population much in excess of that. So we are sitting at somewhere around 33%, whereas the rest of the state's around 53%. That's not very good for Gates County at all, the vaccination rate. So you see it climbing, you see the COVID-19 rising again, so please be cautious and stay with that. We, as commissioners, when COVID-19 first started, we received a daily account of what was going on, how many cases were in Gates County, where they were. We didn't have by name, but we knew where they were located. Well, now, and I'll have to tell you that Ashley Stoop and Amy Underhill kept that going from day to day. Now we get it once a week. We get it on Friday. But it is continuing to climb. But certainly want to thank everyone that was associated with that, all the volunteers, all the his regional health center that was actually responsible for that, Albemarle Regional Health Services. So, and our volunteers. Then National Guard came. Last week, I believe we actually vaccinated somewhere around 23 people. And that's not a whole lot. So you see what's happening, and we hear what's happening in the news as pertaining to the advance of COVID-19 and how it's striking again. And I expect it's going to be devastating to our country and certainly to our community. So keep that in mind as you move forward. And as we sit as your commissioners, and we're working for you. You see us disagree to agree, and sometimes agree to disagree. But it's not that we despise one another. We may not like one another time to time. However, we will eventually agree. So appreciate your participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hoffler?
I think this past year has been challenging for the county with COVID, and we've had a lot of changes in local government from the county manager, the clerk, and several department directors. So we've had a lot of changes. But we'd like to thank our staff who continue to perform their duties during those difficult times. But changes also bring opportunities. To take a fresh look at procedures and methods of our county departments and governing board. And I think you have seen tonight, we are trying to take advantage of things that are out there, make you aware, and see what we can do to move our county forward. So I think we need to ask questions such as, how can we become more efficient in the county? How can we better serve our citizens? What can we do? So we're looking forward to the new perspective of our county manager, Mr. Wilson, and all the things that he brings to Gates County. He's very experienced, and working together, the best is yet to be. And that's what I truly believe. As I sit here on the board, I am working for the citizens of the county to make it a better place for our future, for our children, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews.
Thank you. Commissioner Owens?
Thank you, Commissioners, for your comments. And you left me no room, nothing to say, so I'm going to say very little. Thank you, folks, for being here. And I will reiterate, though, that we have two groups who came here tonight to show presentations and to talk about what they're doing. And that didn't happen on its own. It happened because we reached out. And I want to thank Madam Chair for her diligent work in making that happen, and for Tim for signing on to be a part of it and make it move forward and give it strength so that the county can be improved. There's a question that I want to ask the citizens and everyone at home that's going to look at this later is, ask yourself, what can you do to make Gates County better? That's what we're attempting to do here as board members. You are a partner in anything that we do, and the more people who partner and buy in to what we're bringing for the county, the better it's going to be. So I thank you for your participation and your involvement as we go forward.
The county manager.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just first, we're into our new budget, and on behalf of the employees, I would like to thank you and the entire board for the 4% COLA that was put in for the employees. I know that was greatly appreciated, so kudos to the board for that. Have been working on a lot of hiring and on onboarding of new employees, and there's still recruitment processes going on for vacancies, so HR is definitely staying busy. I have been looking into staffing, organizational issues, and basically how the county goes about doing its business. I was looking at bringing some things forward. Thank you for giving me now I have a time that I know at least which ones I'm bringing first. So thank you for that. The finance officer, Kim is busy closing out the last fiscal year and preparing for the annual audit. So she'll be behind locked doors for probably a couple of months. After that, I've begun my schedule of regular staff meetings with the senior department heads. Those are held twice a month is the schedule that I've set for that. Just to let you know, planning staff, we've had an employee out on medical leave, and Lisa's been very busy, very shorthanded over there. She's done a very effective job under very difficult circumstances, and I will try to see what help I can get for her until she gets back to her previous staffing level. The economic development plan that you heard this evening, yeah, I think that's a great initiative. It's a beginning about what this board's been saying about looking towards the future, and being an old planner myself, you're getting the real deal. You're not getting some boilerplate that's being populated with data from state and federal agencies. You're getting a genuine economic development plan that from people with feet on the ground, eyes on the site, talking to the citizens, talking to people, in public office. I think you're going to be impressed with your results. I know I'm looking forward to that. And one of the things in terms of organization, and not that I'm trying to give you a charge, but I guess in a way I am, one of the things, and I've discussed this with Madam Chair, is for this body to adopt a set of bylaws that govern your procedures. That's very commonplace. I think that would be beneficial for this board to consider and to take up. And I mentioned that just so you can start thinking, certain areas you may want to concentrate on. I'd be glad to meet with any of you together, individually. Well, if I get more than 3 of you, so we'll keep it to 2 at a time, so we don't have to wait 3 days to meet. But I think that's something that would be important and would be beneficial to the board in helping you in the conduct of your business. So I would look forward to working with you on that as well. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, everyone, for their comments. My comments are very targeted. I'm glad you brought up the adoption of a set of bylaws on how we conduct business. The bylaws for this board were tabled last fall because we did not have a permanent county manager. You remember we tabled it until we have a county manager. Now we have a county manager, and we're going to move forward with the attorney at the end of the table. I've already talked to him about pulling that out and revising and getting it adopted, how we conduct our business. It's important that we have order and that we know what we're doing when we do it. And also the code of conduct. All of that's going to be discussed at a retreat that we are going to schedule in September. The month of September, I'm going to ask the Board of Commissioners to look at their calendar and give me a date. And that's going to be a day-long retreat to discuss goals, to discuss bylaws, to discuss code of conduct, discuss anything that we need to work on as a board. That's important, because without bylaws and code of conduct, it's like the wild, wild west. And I don't like that. I like structure. So in September, that'll give the county manager time to, bring forth the reports and other things that we can think of that we might have put on the agenda. The agenda's going to be open for input, but the bylaws are going to be up there. The county manager's goals are going to be up there because he's going to be evaluated by the goals that we set with him. It's no longer, well, what did you do for me lately? No, we're going to have goals, and we're going to evaluate those goals, and that's how he's going to be evaluated. So we have to set them before he's been here 2 years. So, and he's supposed to be evaluated every 6 months. That's in the contract. So time's a ticking. So we're going to do that. Also, we're working on a multiple grants. You know, the money's out there almost laying on the ground, but you got to apply for it. It's not going to just knock on your door and there it is. You have to apply in time, do what they ask you to do, check all the boxes. I see Reba Green Hollis sitting here. She's our premier grant writer. She's about to worry me to death.
I like that word.
Yeah, and she's premier. And I'm a grant person because there's money to be had, but you have to have the right grant. If you can't implement it, don't meet it, leave it alone. But we need a grant writer, and we're going to have to get more grant writers. I didn't retire to write grants, and no, that's not what I do. But we need to have grants in this county because we are poor, we are underserved, we are underfunded. We're not going to get the tax base from the citizens. We don't want to raise taxes, but if the services keep climbing and people keep wanting this, that, and a third, something's got to give. So what to give? We're going to try to get the infrastructure, non-recurring costs by grants. But staffing is a recurring cost. You just don't put in there 1 year and all of a sudden, voila. No, you got to identify how you're going to sustain that. So those are some of the things we have to talk with the county manager and the Board of Commissioners got to come to grips with, that we know our staff is underpaid, even though we gave them a 4% COLA. We know that. But it's not unique to one department. It's across the board. And so we're trying to hold down taxes. We're trying to hold down fees. That's why it's important you look at each department for efficiencies. Are there dollars we can allocate somewhere else? Are there services we can enhance without raising taxes? That's where we're going. You know, and we got to understand something. We don't live in the past anymore. You know, sometimes we go where we were born. We don't live there anymore. The house still there. But we don't live there anymore. So when I keep hearing the citizens talking about what we did in the past, well, didn't we used to do that? We don't live there anymore. We have to move forward incrementally. And I'm going to tell you something else, and I'm closing. People like change along don't affect them. Oh, they love change. Just don't touch them. It doesn't work that way. So you have to embrace it and trust the commissioners to do what's best for the county, not be self-serving, not to have one group that we're playing to. Look at the future. We're getting older in this county. People are leaving. The young people can't stay here. So you have to have those amenities, those enhancements for all of us, not just one subset of people. And that's what we're trying to do as a Board of Commissioners. And I just happen to be the chair this year. You always heard me say, I'm the 2021 chair. Why? Because they elect the chair every December. So I make no claim on anything. I do not have absolute authority. But the authority I have for 2021, you're going to see it. You're going to feel it. Because we have to move forward. The past, we don't live there anymore. And all of us have to embrace change. I don't like change either. But we're going to move forward. We're going to disagree, but we're not going to be disagreeable. We're not going to be mean-spirited. We're going to have some bylaws, and we're going to have order. And I want y'all to keep engaging. And when you see a survey, please fill it out. We have to fill these surveys out to justify our grants.
Get on the map.
We have to. So the website is a mess, and I forgot this, county manager. I'm also charging you to look at that website and tear it up. Write that down. Ms. Chestnut, you're here now. That website, because that's the first view they see of us. When people are looking at moving here, when companies are looking at moving, they look at the website. They ain't gonna come knock on your door. They looking at that website. And I can't find anything on the website. And what's up there sometimes is old. It's not maintained. So I want the county manager to have his staff to look at the website incrementally and make improvement. It may cost some money, but I think we can allocate some dollars if we have efficiency somewhere else. But that has to be done, because as we get on the map, Commissioner Owens, they're looking at us.
That's right.
And they're watching us right now. Oh, they are. And I'm closing with this. I had a conversation with Cal Bryant. We had lunch. And one of the things I'm going to try to work with him on, and the county manager, is for us to put some actionable items from the board meeting in the newspaper. So this disinformation, misinformation is negated as much as we can. People still read the newspaper. He told me he still have, if he says my phone rang if that newspaper is not delivered. So in order for us to get the word out from the county manager, another charge, since he has help now, executive assistant, I want the county manager, after the board meeting, could be a 2 weeks or whatever, because the paper just comes out once a week, is to have a little snippet of what the actionable items we did, and not have social media talking for us. We're gonna hear from the county manager, because communication is very important. So that's another charge. So you see, he's not going anywhere anytime soon, because I've given him 4 charges that can keep him busy for the next 6 months. So,
She said she was going to close.
I'm closing. Don't make me use this. But this is my time to speak to the citizens. I have to get it out once a month, because we can't meet with one, I can't meet with one of you at a time. I can't have 2 people, because that's a meeting. So I have to say what I got to say. He's my right hand. Commissioner Owens is my right hand. It's all of them are. They have helped me so much. But I thank you for coming. Be patient with us. Engage with us. Disagree with us. But don't be mean-spirited about it, because you are. I'm not going to answer you. I don't have to. Thank you again for coming, for watching. You can look on the live stream. It's just like the worship service, turning every week.
I have one comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Next Wednesday night, Wednesday afternoon,
Yeah, it is.
from
Oh, yes, the meet and greet.
meet and greet our new county manager. Please pass the word around. We're having it at
5:30
5:30
downstairs.
downstairs. So,
Have food.
pass that information around to your friends and family and at church or whatever, that you can
No
meet.
charge.
No charge.
No charge.
It's free. Commissioner Freeman is cooking the meet and greet food, so be sure to come.
Avoid that.
Come on down and meet him and his wife. I haven't even met his wife, Sharon. Oh, I can't wait. And so if you have a spouse, bring your spouse so she knows that she's not the only one in the county. So if you're married, bring your spouse, bring your significant other, so she'll feel welcome as well as a part of Gates County. With that said, I'm asking for a motion to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, A subsection 3, 5, and 6.
So moved.
Second?
It's been properly moved and second that we go into closed session. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you for coming.
The lights are a little bit better, so I didn't do makeup before we came out.
Your hair looks good, though.
Thank you. Looks good.
Good evening. I've asked for a motion to exit closed session.
So move. Second?
Been properly motioned and second that we exit closed session. All in favor?
Aye.
We're out of closed session. Now I ask for a motion for appointment to the DSS Board by the Board of Commissioners.
I make a motion to appoint Renee McGinnis to the DSS Board.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion on the floor in a second. Are we ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Renee McGinnis will be appointed to the Department of Social Services Board. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All approved?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
We got 10